Welcome to Linda's Corner. My name is Linda Bjork, and today I'm excited to welcome special guest Natalie Staub from the UK, who is going to talk to us about improving our well-being. Natalie is a mom of 4 sons, a college professor in London who teaches digital marketing, and the co-founder and CMO of a software company. But her passion is well-being, and she runs workshops at university to support students with well-being, motivation, and self-esteem. She started a YouTube channel to empower young adults and students to help them get through the stress of the pandemic. And I'll make sure to include a link in the description. Natalie, thank you for what you're doing for the young adults, and thank you for joining with me today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure. I'm excited to talk about everything we can to do with well-being.
Oh, I'm so glad. And I am so delighted that with all of your professional accomplishments, in your bio, you listed being a mom of 4 boys first. And I just get so excited when people put their families first and show the value and the importance of parenting. So I thought, man, I think I like this person a lot. So I'm super excited to be able to visit with you today. I also watched your YouTube video, or at least one of them. I know you have several on your channel, about how to increase your motivation, tips for a positive mindset. And you share some of your morning routine. And I was so delighted. One of my favorite parts is when you said, I might not start out the day feeling wonderful, but I'm going to put myself in a good mood. And I think that the idea that we can choose to have a good day is so empowering. And I don't think a lot of people have any idea about how truly amazing the habits that you share on your video really are. Some people think, oh, that's probably a good idea. You know, people who are already awesome might do that sort of thing. But they don't realize that these simple daily action steps can actually literally rewire our brains and change the chemistry in our bodies so that we can have a better day, have more energy, be more positive. And so I applaud you. I thought that was so awesome.
Thank you so much. I agree with that 100%. We have to wake up and decide what it is we're going to get from the day. What are we seeking from the day? Because we can't allow for a minute to go by without realizing what it is that we're here to serve. What would we like the day to represent for us? What we would like to achieve in this particular day? And so the practice of mindfulness can really help us achieve that.
Wow. So do you wake up with a big idea of what you're going to do for the day? That almost sounds like a pretty tall order for crawling out of bed.
Well, you see, I wake up and I just have to get in touch with my soul. And this is where I realign myself. And I always call it to align. This is where you just go back inside. And you go back inside and you get in touch with who you are, what your soul needs, how you're going to fulfill it. And you get in touch with the source, with the core of who you are. And for that, it means that when I close my eyes in the morning and I wake up and I'm getting in touch with what it is that really fulfills me. And it can take a few minutes to just get in touch with that. It means that the minute that I wake up from bed, the first step that I take, the first conversation that I have, the first task that I commit myself to is aligned with my soul, with my purpose, with my spirit. And this ensures that I'm always putting myself on the track to joy and fulfillment and growth and expansion.
Okay, so if you start with the idea, I am looking to align myself, I want joy, I want fulfillment. That feels like something I can do rather than, I don't know, I guess when you first started and saying what my purpose of the day, I think, my purpose so far is to get myself out of bed and upright, you know?
Yeah, no, but absolutely. So for example, there is the big vision. The big vision for me is that I want to be joyful, and for my joy not to come from external sources. So my joy doesn't depend on whether I had a good day, whether somebody was nice to me, whether somebody was kind to me, whether I managed to achieve something. Joy has to come without conditions. And so I've decided today is going to be a good day. Not because something needs to happen for that to happen, because I decided I want to be joyful today. And then I think, well, what will bring me joy? And I think I've decided to be happy. And this is what I also want to gain from today. I want to have a meaningful conversation with my sons, and I want to really soak up every little sound that they make and really soak up the conversations and not be, mindfully somewhere else or mindlessly somewhere else. I really want to be present. I want to have a conversation with a friend and really enjoy that exchange of love that we have from one another, or even a smile with a stranger, or I want to learn something new, or I want to really today look after my well-being and reconnect, or just whatever that may be. Just what is my purpose for today, so that the day doesn't go by where I haven't ensured that I'm aligned with what my spirit needs.
Wow, I love the purpose of that day. And I love that you included, in fact, put as a priority, having meaningful conversations and connections with your kids. I think that's so important. Unfortunately, sometimes people let their families kind of fade into the background because we're concerned about our careers and trying to make money. And you think, oh, my family's always there. They're always there. But kids grow up. And then that time is limited and precious. So how beautiful that you just embrace every moment. You have some lucky kids.
Thank you so much, Linda. But I've got to tell you kind of my personal battle. And it's a battle that I have to. And it's quite funny because I had a conversation with it today about it with my dad. I had a conversation today about it with my mom. I'm very driven. I'm very driven by growth. And for me, that is a measurement of success. This is how I measure success. So that's why I have multiple professions. I'm a professor and I'm an entrepreneur, and I love the growth element. And on a daily basis, I have to observe, is what I'm dealing with on a day-to-day basis, am I fulfilling an ego? Am I fulfilling someone else's expectations? Am I fulfilling a particular task out of fear, out of insecurity? Or is it because it's aligned with my journey of growth, which is a source of joy? It's a continuous battle. And that is part of living mindfulness. So yesterday, for example, was a very long day at work. And I had more meetings right from the morning to the evening, but it was an exception. But the minute that I closed the computer, I felt really unhappy. I felt very empty. And that's when I took the time to think and realize today was not in moderation. Today was not in the balance that makes me happy, because I didn't have enough time to breathe in fresh air, to listen to the birds, to get the sun on my face, or to really enjoy the company of my sons and my family. And so now I know yesterday was out of balance. Today it cannot repeat. I've got to put it back in balance. And today was an extra gift of the day because I enjoyed every moment of it, even more so.
Oh, wonderful.
But to be able to live life like that in this way, where you're continuously making sure that everything you're doing is aligned with a track of joy and fulfillment and growth, it means that you need to really operate from a place of strength and not fear. And I'll give you a small example of it. At the age of 23, I was a single parent to two boys. And it was still very important for me to develop a career as a professor, to continue with my studies at university. But I knew that the greatest source of joy for me comes from my family. And the time that we have on this earth is the most valuable thing I can ever possess, because money I can always earn back. But the minute that I spend a day or waste a day, I can never get that day back. And as time is the most important, valuable resources that I possess, I spend it very wisely. And I spend my time in places where I get the highest return on investment. And for me, that's my kids. because I cannot imagine myself being happy in the future if my kids are not thriving and growing. And the truth is that now my sons are older and they're thriving and they're happy and they're joyful. The amount of just a feeling of content and pure joy that comes from that is huge. And I know that I've placed my investment definitely in the right bank accounts. But going back to the story, that as a young parent with 2 sons, you've got to make decisions from a place of strength. And there will be times where you will be really tested to identify what your priorities are and to be very brave and strong to say no. And at the university, for example, they would put a lot of pressure on me to work in the evenings. And for me, that was a non-negotiable. And I said no. And even though I said no, knowing that they will be very displeased with me. And in these instances, my colleagues who did come from a place of fear said yes. And they continue to say yes. And they continue to drop their boundaries because they're coming from a place of fear. They're scared of losing their job. They're scared of being disliked. But I would much rather pay the price of being unpopular, being disliked, rather than pay the price of not being with my family and not gaining the joy of being with my kids, because this will pass and I will never be able to have that time back. And that is not a price that I'm willing to pay. And I wake up and I know that that is the motto, that is what's important for me. And certain things are non-negotiable. And I'm confident to say no. And I'm confident that my job is not to please others. And that is the key to getting the balance. And that is really the key to being able to say, my name is Natalie Staub and I'm a mum first. First and foremost, everything else is a bonus. Everything else allows me to be even a better mum and allows me to grow and allows me to show my children how much growth is important. But it's just a bonus.
Wow. I love that. And I love your story. That's beautiful. And I think sometimes when we come from that place of confidence and we're not worried about what other people think, then the people who like the real us, the genuine us, are drawn to us. And it works out okay. Not everybody is going to love us, but it doesn't matter because we'll still have that group, that community of people who do love and value and appreciate us. And things just balance out, even if you're not worried about it. In fact, it works out better than if you're focusing on it.
100%. You're absolutely right. You want to be surrounded by like-minded people. You want to be surrounded by people who have the same values. Being liked comes with a price tag, and you've got to think as to whether you're really willing to pay for it. You need to have a backbone, and you need to first and foremost really appreciate and value yourself and the value that you have, and you don't need to give to others or to please others, because you are just enough as you are. To be enough. I'm enough as I am. I don't need to be someone's clown. I don't need to be someone's servant. I don't need to serve. I'm good as I am, and it's okay for me to just be me and not be something for everybody, but nothing for myself.
Wow. And I think that that's true. We all are enough, but we don't all believe that we're enough. So doing some of these things that you suggest in your morning routine and getting that alignment can help us learn to believe that we are enough. And I love that alignment, and alignment within ourselves and alignment with our goals. As you talked about, you can have an off day and we can have busy days, and that happens. And then we just get back on track, and it's okay. And I appreciate that because it takes some pressure off that it's okay for me to not be perfect. It's okay for me to make a mistake. It's okay for me to have an off day because I can bring myself back. And as long as my goal is to bring myself back, it's all good.
Absolutely. And there's elements of, I call it separability. And it's quite an interesting practice that I started to do, where imagine yesterday was a day that wasn't the best for me because I it felt like an empty day. It was a day where I was so busy and did so much, yet achieved nothing, because everything that I achieved yesterday was not really aligned with a source of joy for me. I was probably very busy using, maybe chasing things that are not really important, and you stop and think, and you say, yeah, it's part of the job, but is it really important? Does it really bring value? Okay, so imagine that was my day yesterday, and so I also have a choice. I close my eyes and I think, I feel unhappy, and I could be happy, I could be unhappy, I could be both, I could be neither. That feeling that I have is not me, it's a feeling. And there's a practice where you can separate yourself from a feeling and you can float. You don't need to possess a feeling as an identity or as evident of your current state. You can choose to just let it sit, but not let it be who you are.
Don't let it define you. I love that.
Yes, absolutely. And so what I say to myself, the way that it helps me is I close my eyes and I say, I can be sad right now. I can be happy. I can be neither. I can be both. But that feeling that sits within me, just observe it as an outsider and let that feeling sit there. It doesn't need to go anywhere. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's who you are. It's just another feeling that at the moment is in your body, doesn't belong to you. It's not you. It's not yours. So just let it sit there as a guest.
Wow, that's a beautiful concept. So my feelings, I've thought of it kind of as a river where it flows through you, but you're inviting it or dismissing it as a guest. Like, is this a guest I want to have, or is this a guest that I would like to allow to leave? So that's beautiful.
That can just stay until the guest feels that they've had enough. When the snacks run out, when the snacks and the drinks run out, you've got to remember: are you feeding the guest? You might be overfeeding by really delving too much into that feeling and not just letting it be. And as long as the snacks keep coming out and the drinks, the guest is going to stay. I have something quite interesting. My son came up with a concept from school. So he's 7, son number 3, and at school his teacher said she taught them a yoga practice, which I absolutely love. And she said, close your eyes and see a pond. And there's lots of fish swimming in the pond. And these are feeling fish. And some of the fish are happy and some of the fish may be sad. But these are just feeling fish that are swimming in the pond. And it goes back, it connects itself again to that feeling of being an observer of a feeling and not necessarily attaching yourself to that feeling. It's the element of separability, which gives a lot of freedom. It frees yourself, gives you choice.
Oh, I like choices. Choices
Yes.
also give us responsibility, though. Some people kind of like the idea of saying, no, this is the way I am. This is what comes natural. And just want to release themselves of the responsibility that I do have a choice and I can change if maybe I'm not in a place where I want to be or a direction I want to be. I have the power to change it. And some people don't want that power because it also comes with responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it comes with uncertainty.
Oh, we don't like that.
We don't like that. So the minute that I have a feeling, let's say a feeling of sadness or feeling of jealousy, it gives me certainty. I can define, I can box myself. It is security. But now that I have a choice of saying, well, I don't have to be that. It's not me. It's just a feeling that's residing now within me, but it's not me. Then who am I? And that's a scary place because now there's ambiguity and now there is uncertainty. And this is where you've got to self-discover. So we love to have a choice, but our choice can also be scary because we like to go back to our home. Our home is the home within ourselves where we've put labels and we've boxed ourselves through labels, and that's a comforting place. It's a comfortable prison. It's a comfortable prison to be in.
A comfortable
It's scary
prison.
for some, but for some it's a place of security.
That's very true. And whatever is familiar feels safe. So if you're in a place of familiarity, it feels normal.
Yeah.
Whether it's good or bad or ugly, it's normal, and normal feels safe.
It does.
So that uncertainty.
It's our job to really push beyond that elements of safety, and that's where growth comes from. And that's what excites me. For me, that's the exciting part. And that's what I try to push every day. And if I feel uncomfortable, and I say, wow, because I'm growing, and that's okay. So I just let that feeling float, and that's growth.
Wonderful. Okay, so if I'm feeling uncomfortable and I choose to separate myself from that and recognize, oh, this is a growth thing. It's making me better. It's making me stronger. And so you're able to recognize that and then just go with it and keep going.
Yeah, you let it flow. Exactly.
Oh, that's beautiful. Very good. So what kinds of things do you do in your workshops to help these young adults to be able to establish themselves and to be able to become something that they want to be?
Look, that is a fantastic question. Over the last year, I was able to observe to a greater extent how much my students are really struggling. This struggle, I would say, was always there, but they were able to mask it. They were able to mask it and numb it by socializing and shopping and keeping themselves busy through distractions. And during the pandemic, the distractions went away. There was nowhere to hide. And you had to come face to face with yourself, with your inside. And for many people, that was scary. Students need a lot, or the students, through these social ages, they need a lot of social contact. They need their peers. And they were at home, 4 walls, and they had to come face to face with who they are. And this is exactly where we have issues in this generation. And you get a lot of problems with depression, anxiety, and you would be amazed the percentage and proportion of my students that really struggle with both depression and anxiety, which was further exacerbated during the pandemic. For me, the most fundamental thing that my students would really benefit from is to reconnect with who they are, because they are enough just as they are, but to date themselves, to go on dates with themselves, and to get to know themselves from an outside perspective. And so if they went on a date and you get to know the date slowly, and you get to see all the different angles of that person, and you get to understand the values and their qualities and their strengths, that is exactly what they need to do through understanding themselves. Our education system doesn't truly allow children to develop that element of self-esteem and self-observance, because we're very much boxed in others' expectations. The school system that doesn't give much space for individuality. And if you've got a student who, a young child who is perhaps not fantastic at sitting around a table, or not fantastic at not chatting in class, they're considered as naughty. Or maybe you've got a student who wasn't brilliant at maths, then they're considered as not as smart. And we grow up with these really harsh labels, and we don't have the opportunity, and especially now through social media, we don't really have the opportunity to explore who we are. What are our values? What contribution can we make to society? Who are we, and what is our role in the bigger context? In addition to that, students haven't written a compelling future. Once you know who you are and what your role is in society, then you are able to create a compelling future, which is, what is my purpose? I'm waking up today and I'm excited because this is what I've got to live for. This is all the exciting things that I can look forward to. And a future can change and it can shift, and our plans should be flexible. But at all stage, we should have a plan. Even if the plan shifts, augments, we need to wake up for a future that is worth waking up for. And I felt that during the pandemic, this is what students really lacked. They lacked in a compelling future because they got a sense of doom or fear. Where is this all going to go? What is going to come from this situation? And they started feeling more and more depressed and really demotivated. And imagine what a terrible situation it is for students to wake up with so much emotional anguish and at the same time have to find the motivation to submit assessments and coursework. I absolutely empathize with my students for that. The way you're struggling all on your own because you don't have your peers to support. You don't have the same contact with your tutors, with your lecturers to give you that boost. And you are with yourself in an emotional crisis, yet having to withstand the pressure of academia. That is very tough. So what did we do? We ran sessions. Well, I ran sessions with the students to, first of all, help them get excited about something. And we start off with exercises of write 20 things that you're grateful for. What is it that you are grateful for? And some students wrote, my sister, my brother, my mom, my dad, even to be able to pick up a book and read. And as they were writing it down, and I could see them on Zoom, their faces lit up and they had light in their eyes and they were smiling. Their soul came to life. And you could see that instantly the minute that they put themselves in a grateful place. And there were lots of other exercises we were doing. We were also doing meditation and breathing exercises. We were writing down exercises on how to evaluate their qualities. They had to write down things that to date that they achieved. And it's the smallest of things, but that is a reflection of their strength, of their merits. Did you do something kind to someone else? Are you an amazing sister? Are you supportive? Are you an observer? Are you a good listener? All these qualities that sits outside of the school system that perhaps people don't get as much attention as they should for these qualities, or the qualities that sits outside of being good at maths and science and being good at writing. No, there's a lot more for us to observe within ourselves and each other that we really need to shed light on.
Oh, I'm so glad that you're sharing this. You could be literally saving their future because they have come back to a place of hope and the importance of gratitude. It's so easy to get focused on the news and on the bad things that just keep popping out, and to take some time to do gratitude. There have even been studies done where they put fMRI scanners on and have found that it increases the numbers of places in the brain that become active, and it helps improve the neuroplasticity of the brain, which literally helps us to become more flexible, more adaptable. It makes us, literally makes us more resilient.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree, Linda, because when you're filled with gratitude, you hold no space for negative emotion. You are a jar. Imagine yourself as a jar. And if I don't fill my jar up with good substance, then something else will be filled in there. And so the first thing in the morning, you fill it up with all the right juice, the right substance, the right liquid, and then you leave no capacity for negative thoughts, for negative feelings. Not that negative thoughts and feelings are bad to have, but you've just got to think pragmatically. Does it add any value to me? Does it make something better? Is it a solution? Is it an answer? Sometimes they come and it's okay. Come and stay and they visit, and you can feel negative and grateful at the same time. You can be both. You can be neither. You can be nothing. So, but listen, we spend so much time working on a computer and emails and traveling and commuting. We have to block in our day fundamentally for our well-being. And we're all busy, and we're all going to continue to be busy. But it's a choice as to what we want to be busy with. and I block out that time for meditation, or a grateful prayer, or breathing exercises, or to just realign myself, even if it takes 3 minutes. If I don't block it in, then the outside world will consume me. People will consume me. You've got to look after yourself.
I love the idea that you said we could even block out 3 minutes. So some people's morning routines might be just a few minutes. Maybe that's all the time they have, or an hour, or maybe some people are allowed even more time than that. But even in a busy schedule, we can fit in 3 minutes. And I love your idea that this is not something that just happens, and it's not something that just is going to take place by itself. You block out that time. You make it a priority. You feed yourself so that you can take care of the things for the day. That's beautiful and so valuable.
Yeah, just like in an airplane, they always say you put your mask on yourself first, and then you put the mask on your children. And it's the same for life. I have to wake up and breathe the right oxygen, feed my brain with the right thoughts, align myself to the source, and just wonderful things come from there. It's a must. We are the guardians of our thoughts, of our conversations, and we have to really stand guard at the gate, and we're responsible for it. And it's okay if it's 3 minutes. We're all busy, and there's many strategies that I have for busy parents. Audible, for example, as I'm cleaning, as I'm cooking, I will listen to something inspiring, something that really feeds my mind and my soul. And that will be instead of social media, or instead of watching something that doesn't hold as much purpose for me or doesn't give me as much value. And I wake up in the morning, and it just takes 3 minutes to realign yourself. It's just a question of slowly building in some good habits that will then stick around, because it will be harder to break once you've built those good habits.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And it's amazing how much of a positive impact we can make on others. And it's the smallest of acts. And it's a smile. And it's sometimes me buying a student a coffee when I see a student at the university in the coffee shop, and I say, I'd like to buy you a coffee today. And you see how they feel. Wow, someone cares, someone asked, someone saw, someone smiled. And the impact that you have is even beyond our ability to comprehend. And it's through the smallest of things, but the impact is huge. And that is beautiful. Even the conversation that I really had the privilege of being part of today, but that exchange is just magical. It's so beautiful. Really is the essence of life.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. And smiles are free, and they're easy to give, and it doesn't take a lot of time, and it even doesn't take a lot of effort. But it's a wonderful thing that we can share. And I'm so excited for when we can all take our masks off so we can see smiles. Right now, sometimes you can only see the smiles through the crinkles in the eyes.
It's true. You can see when someone is smiling. You can see when the eyes are happy. We can still communicate through that.
Yes. But I am looking forward to the mask coming off, and I would love to see more smiles. Wonderful.
Me too. We all have to really take the time to smile more. It's a gift for others and ourselves.
Yes. And I love when you have a win-win gift. That's the best.
Gift that keeps on giving. That's what it is. I agree.
Indeed. And then maybe they can share it with the next person that they see. Who knows?
Exactly. I agree.
Wonderful. Well, Natalie, thank you so much for visiting with me today and sharing your experience and your warmth and your kindness. I can just feel it, and I love it.
You're so sweet. Pleasure was all mine, Linda. Your energies are phenomenal. You've got so much warmth.
Thank you. In closing, I'd like to share a quote by John C. Maxwell. He said, "You will never change your life until you change something you do daily. The secret of your success is found in your daily routine." Today, I invite you to take at least 3 minutes to create a morning daily routine to help increase your energy and to make your life happier. See you next time on Linda's Corner.